another stream, and surprisingly we got another little itty-bitty nugget of unexpectedness. A nice surprise amongst the endless stream of Galli animations, I suppose. So, Pachyrhino, this is one we haven't heard about, seen anything of in a really, really long time, actually. I kind of forgot it existed, because I'm pretty sure it was one of the ones that was just offhandedly mentioned a while back, and I guess it's decided to reappear out of the blue, and seems about in the same state as Dibble is in, so that was kind of interesting. It doesn't do anything, there's no animation to it, it's not even textured, again, just like the Dibble. However, it is interesting to see it after so long. I mean, again, we haven't heard about Pachyrhino and... honestly, I don't remember when we last heard about it at all. I know it's been mentioned offhandedly again, but aside from that, nothing. Nothing in concept art as far as I'm aware, nothing model-wise as far as I'm aware, just nothing, really. Again, I forgot it existed outright because we don't hear anything about it. So that was definitely a surprise. I would say much more so than the Dibble, because, yeah, honestly, this reminded me Pachyrhino existed at all in terms of the Isle, because, yeah, he's just not talked about. I don't know anything else about him, I don't know what he's gonna be like or anything like that. I'm not sure if even the devs know about that yet. But, yeah. He's been spotted, so anyone who really likes Pachyrhino, here you go. He's got a model ready, it seems, unless this was an old one, but kind of doubt it. I don't know if he'd show off an old model like that. That would be kind of weird. But anyway, it's there. He's been seen. All the rest is Galli animations. It looks like he was working on the injured one, so let's get on over to that. And here he is, that boy, limping onto the stage once more. I missed most of the stream, so I only had a small portion of it to work with. However, there was plenty within this portion, so I'm pretty pleased with it. I got a very early iteration of the injured animation, and then I've got a very, very late one. So I'm very happy to be able to see the difference, and you guys will get to experience the same thing slowly but surely throughout this sea of Galli-ness. So again, this seemed to be the injured, limping, whatever animation. And the first one is pretty simple. For all I know, this is the Legacy one because, again, I don't play Galli and I don't remember any of the animations in Legacy for the most part. Minus a few here and there. I usually played Rex and honestly I didn't do too much as Rex anyway. Dillo and Serato would have been my most active too. But that's getting into more interesting things. But for now, it is Galli time. It's little bits over the course of, I think I had a few hours to work with. I don't quite remember anymore. Chopped down a whole ton, because again, it's usual, same thing again and again. There's a lot more of the animation actually being shown in between this time, because he did reference it quite a bit more often. I actually had to cut it because, again, there's the whole not enough going on. I'm pretty sure even Isle fans can only handle so much of the same thing again and again and again, so I tried to cut out too much of the samey stuff and keep a little bit more of the slight alterations, differences, and stuff like that. But again, most of it's sped up times 4, so you can imagine the absolute slog this would have been to watch it in real time. I cannot imagine it because I do not do it. I watch it sped up and I cut it from there because no one has time for that. Anyhow, limping animation. The first one, again, pretty basic, just mostly the leg thing. And as he goes on, he'll add the neck, he adjusts the arms, he does quite a bit with it by the end. And that's more or less what the whole section is. He did what looks like the trot, I think he did the run, which I think is what shows at the very end, and then there was the turn. Funny enough that he actually has a little chart that gets popped up at some point, it should be relatively soon by now, that shows some speed stats. I don't know if they're related to the game at all. They might be nothing and just reference for, you know, speeding up the animation and whatnot. But for those of you who like stats, they were there, they popped up. Go ahead and pause if you need to. I let them play in real time rather than sped up, so they should be easier to see. I think they were on the screen for a decent amount of time. So those interested in that should be able to see it pretty easily. But aside from that chart and the Pachyrhino, those were the only surprises within the section that I got that I was able to see. Possible I missed something, and of course there were several hours that I missed because, again, it, as always, happened while I was asleep, and I just happened to see it in between trying to get back to sleep. So, there we go. But at least I was able to get most of it, or, well, a decent amount of it this time around, unlike the poor Serato one, so there's that. Can't complain too much overall. Aside from not having much to talk about because it's Galli, and it's a herd animation, and there's honestly not a lot going on. I mean, so far as herd animations go, I mean, it looks as I expected it would. And there's a lot of adjustments that go on, yes, but it's mostly, you know, making the neck curl instead of having it straight up, having one of the arms droop when the other is held upwards, adjusting where the weight goes as it limps around. It's all that sort of fun stuff. I mean, it's neat. However, there's only so many times you can say, oh yeah, the foot was adjusted, oh yeah, the arm was adjusted, oh yeah, the weight was adjusted, the neck has now curled, that sort of stuff. Could go bit by bit like a sports commentator and scream at every little adjustment he makes, but frankly that's boring and I don't want to do that. This is boring enough as it is. It's a herd animation. There's not a whole lot to say. Not a lot going on, and it's Galli. So on my end, it's there. But those who enjoy Galli are probably incredibly happy to see it. It's making some good progress. He hasn't been working on Serato anymore, so I would like to hope that's done, and he's just blasting through Galli. Granted, this is like right within his wheelhouse. This is exactly the kind of stuff this animation was made for him, essentially. This creature is his creature. When you know the sort of animations he does, but most of you guys are gonna know, this is exactly his sort of thing. So I imagine this is something he's very much enjoying working on, and he's blasting through it, as expected. So, I mean, hey, maybe we'll see Galli sooner than expected. I half expected it to show up before Serato because of all the weird choices they've been making roster-wise. But, I mean, hey, it's a new creature after, how long has it been now? Over a year. Anything's welcome at this point. Trudon still just chilling in its little not stress test. I keep wanting to say stress test. QA. He's in QA. He's been in QA for, what is it, 7, 8 months now? After they said he was nearly done. And it makes you wonder what on earth's going on in that case. Like, really? Why? He was supposed to be done last year, and it's almost February now. What's going on, man? I wish there was some sort of communication, but alas, that's asking too much. But so far as Galli goes, I don't know if there's gonna be any problems like that with him, because with Trudon at least there's the excuse of Venom. Maybe some catastrophic failure happened with Venom, even though they said Venom was basically done. Maybe something weird happened with Trudon itself, even though they said Trudon was basically done. Galli, as far as we're aware, isn't gonna have anything like super duper weird or amazing. He's gonna be Galli. He's gonna be fast. I think there's possibly the sand thing. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna be in the game or not. I know people were talking about it. I don't remember if it was actually mentioned or not. He has the kick. He'll be able to consume eggies, which is nice. You know, Galli things. Aside from that, I haven't heard of anything weird, fancy, special. I mean, all creatures are gonna have some sort of special ability, but whether or not it's, you know, super fantastical or not is another story. I imagine Galli's special is going to be relatively simple. Like, Carno's special was a charge, and all that. So, I mean, it's probably going to be pretty easy. Simple. I shouldn't say easy, but simple. It could be the sand thing. I'd like to believe it would be. But aside from that, there's not a whole lot to say about Galli. I mean, Galli's Galli. He be running fast, and he looks cute. I'll say that. The skin he has here for Galli, the one that looks like it's supposed to be feathered, it looks really cute. I like the browns. It makes me think of coffee. And that's about the extent of what I can say. Galli's Galli. That's about it. But overall thoughts on the stream, it was there. It was fine. It was... For me, it was below average because it was a slog. Well, personally, I'm not the biggest fan of Galli. He's not one of my least favorites. He's more of a neutral ground creature where he's there, and I acknowledge he exists, but he's nothing that I particularly, I'm not affectionate towards him. He's just hanging, he's chilling, he's there. I don't dislike Galli. It's just more, he's there. And I don't have any strong feelings one way or another. It's still interesting to see the animations and have them take place and, watch all the adjustments and stuff. But going through and commenting on such adjustments is, well, you figure out pretty quick it's boring, to put it lightly. To just say, oh yeah, this got tweaked, that got tweaked, oh yeah, this and that, and it's stupid. It was dumb. So, just about anything else gets talked about instead, because again, this one's more of the, it's a simpler animation so far as looks go, because in-game, I mean, yeah, it's there. I mean, it's a walk animation series, and it's definitely altered, and you can see the progression of it, and it's nice to see the progression of it, but it's still just kind of there, at least for me. Granted, for Strato's head animation, I don't think I had much to say on that either, because, well, for one, that was just the head, but two, it was just there. I think the swim animation the swim attack animation, I should say, was probably the most interesting so far of the streams that I've caught. Just because of how wavy and everything it looked. Again, it was impressive to me, at least, seeing the animation outside of the water still look like it's within the water. Because as I mentioned back there, the water would hide a lot of this stuff, and so in theory there's not much of a reason to go through and make it look as flowy as it does. But he did it anyway, and it was impressive, and even though, again, there's some animations I dislike, I admire the amount of effort that goes into it. But as far as this stream goes, it was... The Pachyrhino was definitely the highlight, at least for me. I'm not the biggest fan of ceratopsians overall. I mean, they're really cute. Of all the herbivores, I think ceratopsians are probably pretty high up there. However, having so many, it gets... I mean, visually it gets a little samey, I suppose, but you could say that about, anything on two legs looks samey, or any of the fishers look too samey, which... I mean, to me, Baryonyx and Suchomimus are pretty similar. It's minus, the size and stuff, but hey, it is what it is. It'd be that way. And then there's Alberto and, what was it, T-Rex or something? Those two are pretty similar. I know they've been trying to be very careful about not having Acro step on Giga's toes, but at least for me, I think Acro and Giga look physically dissimilar enough. The shape of Acro's head has always been pretty interesting to me. And then I really love the crests on Giga. Or, well, the Legacy one. We'll see about this one. They've changed it a lot from what it was in Legacy, and frankly, I really, really adored the Legacy design. So I'm not happy about Giga's redesign because it looks more generic. And I liked the other one that looked a bit more creative. But I suppose that's just me. I know there were some others that felt the same way, but there's a whole bunch of people as well that will like the other one. Frankly, I would like to hope that we would get both, because overlaying their animations on such a similar rig, you'd think it would be easy enough, but Well, I shouldn't say rig, I should say model, not rig. You guys know what I mean. It's late, I'm tired, we're doing this, we're going forward. But Giga's so similar between the two, I don't think it would be too big of a problem. Like how in human games, games that use humans, you know, the human-y ones, just about any of them can use the same animation rig. For instance, in IDV, which you'll probably notice is probably on the screen by now, all of the male survivors share the same rig and all of the female survivors share the same rig. So all of the male survivors have the exact same animations minus a few special ones for certain emotes and whatnot, and all the female ones have the same animations except for, you know, a few special ones here and there. Giga being so similar to Giga, you would think, you know, you could just overlay it kind of like that. Because the redesign was mostly an aesthetic one rather than, you know, the body is vastly different from this other one. So in my eyes, you'd think it would be like, oh, okay, we can just, you know, mix them a little bit. And there'd probably have to be some adjustments to the older model because certain places might not move as smoothly as a new model. We've talked about animations before where you can definitely see where the model wasn't quite made to bend that much, and it tears or distorts in a way that it's like, oh yeah, that looks kind of bad. Or the knees or heels will look just like they've collapsed in on themselves, that sort of thing. But I think it would still be worth it overall because the old Giga's model doesn't look bad. It looks great. I think if they just, you know, a new texture would go a long way. I don't think it needs it, but it looks great in my eyes. It looks beautiful. You see people port that thing into, like, you know, Jurassic World Evolution and stuff. It's a great model. Of all the Gigas I've seen in media, that is my favorite Giga. And to me, it's a shame they changed it. But I'm going off talking about Giga in a Galli video. Granted, it's the end, so it doesn't matter anyway. I can talk about whatever I want at this point. Most people have checked out, and this is the point where I'm just rambling on to make it so there's more of my stuff than their stuff. You know how it is. But I try to keep it at least somewhat IL-related. I could talk about Ark for days and days, but I will not do that because no one wants to hear me talk about Ark for eons and all of the unfortunate events that'll happen in that game. And anyone who plays Ark knows how Ark is. It's very... It's to the point where when I'm playing other games and something horrible happens or something doesn't work right, like trying to land a creature somewhere, we'll go, my friend group that is, we will go, it's just like Ark. That's become the thing now. It's just like Ark. So this doesn't work. Oh, it's just like Ark. That just absolute monstrosity thing happens that should never have happened, but happened anyway. Yes, it's just like Ark. That sort of thing. And those who play Ark will definitely know the sort of stuff I'm talking about. Just the absolute worst case scenario stuff you come to expect in that game. In other games you would be like, wow, that never should have happened, but in Ark it's like, yes, that's Ark. That's the most Ark thing to happen. I could see that happening. That is right within the realm of what I expect of this game. But there's many stories to tell in that regard, but hopefully by now I'm about done because I have a lot of other stuff I need to do, and this is not one of the ones that I wanted to do right now. I've got... I don't know. I'm not gonna go into it. We're just gonna... I think I can end it here. I think we're good. I think I'm done. We've talked enough, and my love for Giga and all that other stuff. Which, funny enough, I never really played Giga. I think I played him once, and I love his trot and how fast it was. Especially compared to Rex, who's like a slug. My friend who played Giga, we'd travel together across the map, and I'd be Rex, and she'd be Giga, and she'd keep having to stop and stare at me as I slowly waddled to catch up. And I can't even run to catch up because Rex doesn't regain its stamina in Legacy because they needed to nerf it that bad. And so I have to conserve my run at all cost and just slowly waddle across the map. But it was fun. I enjoyed growing it. It was It was AFK chat experience, I suppose. Me and my friend would just hang out in a spot, we'd chat for a while. It was an excuse to just chill, I guess. And then we'd go around the map and explore a little bit. Because generally speaking, you didn't get pestered as much as Giga or Rex, so it was easier in that regard. However, you'd always get the mega packs or whatever else that would show up and just obliterate you. That and I sucked at combat, but when you've got 3 Spinos, 2 Gigas, a Rex, and a Theory, there's not a whole lot you can do. But at least I almost killed the Spino. Almost. Not quite, but almost. I broke his leg. Maybe he bled out. Who knows? I'd like to believe he did. My friend got away, though, and that's all that mattered. Anyways, we're going. We're done. No more legacy. Back in my day sort of things. I hope you guys have been doing well and enjoying yourselves. Have a great day, night, whatever the heck time it is when this gets posted, whenever you see it. All that fun stuff. Someday I'll be able to move the picture on the side again, but I just have no energy to do that. And, as always, goodbye!
Thank you.